He's a Frenchman that started fighting in the UK, moved to Australia, now fights out of New Zealand. He's MMA's nomad. He's Kevin Jousset, and we got him here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your main event. Live from HBF Stadium Festival Hall. Melbourne Pavilion. Not even backstage, we're literally outside. Was that the best fight card in Australian MMA history?
Call me crazy, but make sure you call me when I'm right.
Be good if the Aussie MMA Instagram page would give us a bit of glow up because we're killing
Welcome to the Australian MMA podcast, and we're on the road as we head to UFC 312 Feb 9th in Sydney. But the interviews, they don't stop. Kevin Jousset, he takes on Jono Micallef, UFC 312. That is the debuting Jono Micallef. Kevin Jousset, he's been around the UFC for, I think, 18 months now. Both boys are former Hex welterweight champions, and they're competing against each other. Which is, going to be a bit of a roller coaster for Australian fans. Kevin Jousset spent time in Australia training at Absolute MMA under the great Simon Carson. He now trains at City Kickboxing under the great Eugene Behrman. He says in this interview he spent some time in the UK and, of course, is France. He's from France. And, yeah, so he's kind of just been all around. Chasing MMA journey. He's had a extensive background in judo, and look, he's really turned into quite a prospect. Recently took a loss to Brian Battle, who's on a bit of a run in the UFC. But other than that, Kevin Jousset is definitely one to watch. And if you're a French, New Zealand, or Australian fan, he's one of the most intense individuals I've ever met. So it's good to sort of sit down, have a chat with him and get his thoughts on his opponent, Jono Micallef, and of course, coming back to compete in Sydney, UFC 312, Feb 9th. Let's hear from Vex, and on the other side, Kevin Jousset.
Vex MMA has officially teamed up with PRP Global, and their brand new website is now live. Head over to Vex MMA to check out their latest gear, perfect for fighters and fans alike. Whether you're stepping into the cage or just repping the lifestyle, Vex MMA has you covered.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. It's been a little while. Kevin Jousset, mate, welcome.
Thank you.
Last time we spoke, I think it was backstage at Hex, and I was saying, who do you want to fight next on the regional scene? And you said, no, brother, I will be in the UFC, and boy, were you right.
Yeah, man, it's been, maybe over 18 months now. And I was right, I guess. But yeah, the next fight was against UFC and UFC 293. And a few fights deep now.
Yeah, I mean, why were you so confident? Like, had you talked to the UFC prior to that Kit Campbell fight, or did you just believe?
Well, I knew they were interested. I already knew that, because they pretty much made me understand. And I knew that after a big win, like I've had that night, I knew it was pretty much a done deal. Then you never know until you have a contract, But yeah, I was quite confident.
And how much has life changed since you've been in the UFC?
Not much. Like, I'm still doing the same thing, train every day and just do what I love. It doesn't change much. Like, obviously, a bit more recognitions and stuff like that. And you fight in bigger venues in front of way more people. And the consequences of a win or consequences of a loss is a bit bigger, but otherwise, it doesn't change a thing.
Well, I mean, speaking of consequences of a loss, I mean, you had a tough battle with Brian Battle, and you were on such a tear before that. Obviously, we were like, yep, Kevin's going to the stratosphere. What do you do when you hit a bit of a roadblock like that? Did you have to go, oh no, and let's reinvent sort of everything? Or did you just go, no, that's just a little hiccup. I still know what I need to do to get to the top?
Yeah, you just go back to work, man. Even if you have a big win, you can't just think you're world champion because you just had a big win. And that's what I'm saying. If you have a loss, you can't change the whole plan because you won a fight or because you lost a fight. So obviously, I was extremely disappointed and thought I could have beat this guy, but it got me that night. But it is what it is. I just got back to the training room and kept getting better and now ready to go back on a winning streak.
Is training at City Kickboxing and having all those good guys who obviously you got like Izzy, who's a superstar, does it help kind of deal with you don't get too big when you win and you don't get too low when you lose?
I think it's always been my mentality, but I guess it helps in a sense on every fight is big at the gym, like yeah, like fighting in UFC is big, but compared to his some of those guys, my fights some and that big, you know what I mean? So it's very easy to just relax about it and stuff like that. But I'm focused on just like fighting well and doing as well as I can, more than the result itself.
Do you still enjoy life as well, or is it just training, fight, repeat?
But wow, my life has been training and rest and go again for the past 10 years already. So I enjoy life, yes, because I love training. But obviously, I don't have as much hobbies than most people. I don't go out as much or stuff like that. But it's all right. I know that after my career, I'll have more time to do some other stuff as well. So I just try to make the most of it what I can.
You don't like fishing or playing chess or anything like that?
Yeah, no, I do. I do like doing other shit too, but I just don't get to do it as often as I would like sometimes. But it's okay. Like when I have a good time, I have a proper good time. You know what I mean? So whatever I do it fully.
Mate, you almost have three homes with obviously France, Australia, New Zealand. Where do you feel most comfortable?
For training, I'm comfortable here. Like for living, I'm comfortable here. Then obviously my roots are French. So obviously I'm fully French and proud to be French. And Australia, I lived there for like 4 years. So I don't know. It's a bit weird. Like I know a lot of people in those three different countries, and I love those three different countries for different reasons. So I'm not sure. I can't really choose.
And what brought you out to Australia to begin with?
I just wanted to travel already. Like I was living in UK actually for a couple of years before I came to Australia, and I was trying to learn English over there. And UK was great, but it was a bit the weather was a bit too bad for me. So I was like, let's go to the other side of the world. Let's get some sun. And Australia sounds very exciting to go. So I was like, yeah, just booked a one-way ticket, and that was in 2016. And here we are, like 10 years later. So yeah.
Which is funny because you went to Melbourne, which is the rainiest place in Australia, and then New Zealand, which is pretty rainy too.
I know, right? Lucky I spent my time in the indoor gym anyway. So
And how did mixed martial arts start for you? I know you got a judo background, but why did you even want to get into cage fighting?
well, yeah, I started judo because I was just like I had too much energy, let's say, when I was young. So my parents just put me into it, and I enjoyed it, and I competed at a pretty high level back then. And after doing it a bit too much, since I was a young boy, I just got over it, and I tried to have a normal life, let's say, just like working 9 to 5 and stuff when I moved to UK. And I just realized very quick that I was still an athlete, and I was not a normal guy who just wanted a normal job. So I was like, yeah, let's, what can I do? What sport can I do when I'm already in my mid 20s, and I've done judo most of my life. And then a mate of mine just told me about MMA. I didn't really know about it back then, especially like back in 2016, MMA was not a thing in France. So you couldn't watch it on any major or anything. So he just told me about it, saying like, oh yeah, with your judo background and stuff, I think you could be good. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm quite old in a sense. I was like 20, 23 or something. And I'm like, oh, I'll try. Well, when I moved to Australia, and I loved it. I felt very comfortable, especially in grappling as soon as I started. So I'm like, yeah, well, I'll just give it a try and see how it goes. But when I do something, as I said, I do it fully. So I went like full-time training as soon as I started. And yeah, here we are.
Are you like an angry guy outside of the cage? Like, did you get in many fights growing up?
No, not really. I've had a few fights, obviously, but it was more like to defend my mates more than actually trying to get into fights, like I'm pretty chill. Like I don't really like street fights or this kind of shit. I think it's a bit dumb, to be honest. But yeah, no, just I like competitions, and I like trying to test myself against another guy who think he can beat me in whatever it is, even if you were playing another, not even a sport, like just, I don't know, doing a dumb game. I would try to win no matter what. So yeah, it's just who I am.
Do you need to hate your opponent going in, or can you just shake hands, be friends, and compete?
No, I don't care. I don't need to hate nobody. I know he's trying to do the same thing, and it is what it is. That's a sport. Like I don't even know the guy. I'm fighting most of the time when I fight someone, so I have no reason to hate him for trying to do what I'm trying to do to him. So no, I'm pretty cool with any opponent. I don't really care.
And are you the type of guy that after a fight you could then go and eventually train with them?
Train with yeah, why not? I mean, it didn't happen, I think, with any of my opponents, but I don't care. Like again, like I'm here to win the fight on the night, and as soon as we finished, I'm cool with the guy. So if he wants to train on our gym, that's cool. Just come and you're welcome.
Were you there when Rob Whittaker showed up with Izzy?
Yeah. I was there. He just came for a couple of days, but yeah, it was fun to have another big name and another, like, obviously very good fighter at the gym.
Was that weird to see that, because at one point in time they were like huge rivals and I wouldn't say hate each other, but like super competitive. And then to just see them training together, is it weird to see that full circle?
Yeah. It's kind of weird, especially because they've done it at the highest level possible, like on all the screens, and like everyone knew about this fight. That was one of the biggest fight ever, like biggest attendance in history in the sport, So obviously, yes, that was a bit weird at first, but I guess as long as Iz and Rob don't make it awkward, then we're all good with it, Like for me, like I don't care. He's a good guy to train with, so I'm happy if he can come to the gym.
Is it bizarre too that, because you're an adopted Aussie and an adopted New Zealander, and we get you on the card, and obviously everyone loves to go for you, but then they kind of stitch you up and give you a guy from Melbourne to fight?
I know, right? Well, at first, I didn't even think I was gonna fight on this card. Well, I tried to be on the card earlier, like maybe November or something like that. I tried to be on this card, but they pretty much made us understand, and it was already full with Aussies. I couldn't be on this card, so I was gonna fight slightly later on. But I don't know if my opponent had someone else to fight at first, and then the guy got injured. Or I'm not too sure what happened, but they told me, "Oh yeah, can you fight at this date?" I was ready to go, so I'm like, "Yeah, sweet, perfect. Like, I don't need to wait too long." So yeah.
Do you think you'll get cheered?
That's a tricky one. I'm not sure, but like maybe like I think like obviously most of the crowd will want the Aussie guy to win, I guess, but also many of the fans who will be in attendance on the nights probably saw my UFC debut last year, and shit for me is that night. So like at the end of the day, bro, like I don't really care. Whoever wants me to win or lose, there's only one guy who's gonna try to beat me, and I would be the only guy trying to beat him too, so it doesn't matter.
Do you like that it's kind of like if it was 2 years earlier, it's just the Hex main event?
Oh man, I'm gonna make more money now, and there's more people watching, so much better now. But I mean, Hex is like the best promotion in Australia, so I'm very glad I fought on their show many times, and I've got the opportunity to be double champ over there, and he was a champ after me after I left the UFC, so it's a good story, and that's good for Hex as well. It just shows them that's the best show in Australia. So yeah, but if I had to choose, I'm glad we're doing these fights in the UFC.
Were you aware of Jono Micallef beforehand?
Well, I've seen that he won the welterweight belts when I left the UFC, but I didn't know him personally. Or I've never met him, or I've never watched his fights before last month already. So yeah, not really, but like when they gave me a call, I obviously watched his fights, and I was like, yeah, sweet, like good fight, good fighter. It should be a good banger. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there a plan going into this fight? Like, do you expect it to keep it standing, or what can people expect?
See how it goes, brother. That's MMA. So as you know, I can grapple, I can strike, and I'm sure you can do the same. So like we all have plans before the fight, and then the fight can go one way or another. Sometimes you need to readjust your game plan quite quick. So we'll see. I have an idea of where the fight is gonna go, and I'm planning to do it my way. But either way, I'm a good grappler, I'm a good striker, so I'll be ready anyway.
Two more questions before I let you go. If you have to pick one flag to walk out with, France, New Zealand, Australia, what are you doing?
It's always a French flag, Baba. It's right there. Nah, always, but I mean, I can't forget my roots, that's where I grew up. And yes, that's it.
You're gonna have to pull out, like, how Khan Offley, he has like the Turkish flag and the Australian flag. You're gonna have to, how magicians keep pulling out, right? You're gonna have to pull out 4 flags.
Oh, yeah, man. Like, I can't move to another country anymore. Now there's too many flags to carry around. But yeah, no, I'm happy to represent Anzacs on the world stage at the same time than the French people. That's I'm proud of that for sure.
Yeah, we're very excited to have you, mate. It's especially when you leave, like a Australia type thing. If we didn't want you, we'd never mention you again. But we keep trying to claim you, which means you're doing well.
It's a good thing, I guess. It's a good thing.
And mate, before I let you go, I kind of ask everyone this, so I thought I'd give you the opportunity to. After it's all said and done, how does Kevin Jousset want to be remembered in mixed martial arts?
I don't know if I can inspire a few people to just do the best and don't limit themselves to some very small goals. Sometimes you can have a different path than most people, and it doesn't look like it's gonna be an easy way to make it work, but as long as you work towards it, you can make it work. As I said, I studied the sport quite late compared to most people, and most guys are already like long-term pro by the time I studied. And yeah, like I just believed in myself and I worked hard towards my goals, and I didn't really listen to the guys who thought it was too late for me, and I made it happen. And if it can inspire a couple of guys, well, I guess I've done my job.
Well, mate, it already has, because like you said, you've absolutely just given your life for this sport. You've moved countries, you've dedicated it, you've humbled yourself going to city kickboxing and all that sort of stuff. So you are definitely an Anzac, mate, whether you like it or not. So we're supporting you, and we're looking forward to Feb 9th, and I hope that you and Jono fight to a draw.
Let's see what happens, but we'll be all right. I'm sure it's going to be a great fight. From what I've seen, he's a great fighter too, so I'm looking forward to have a big fight, and yeah, we'll get to drink afterwards. It's so good.
Awesome, mate. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I'll see you in Sydney.
Thank you, brother. Sounds good. See you then.